Welcome, Adrianna, to the space, MooRooM. You've got podcasts. You've got retreats. You're a teacher, practitioner. Like, what else? Like, whenever you began on whatever your realization was, what were some things that you were already doing? Like, because you don't start from ground zero. It feels like it, but then you realize you already have some skills there. So what were the things already there that you were already doing that you say, oh, I can just go this way?
So it all kind of started with yoga, honestly. I was practicing yoga, like not very seriously, but on and off. Mm-hmm. And I was really interested in it. And during a plant medicine journey, I had taken some mushrooms and I was shown that, or like had a conversation with God that I wasn't supposed to be going to college and that I should go to yoga teacher training. And I was like, what? Like, I don't want to be a yoga teacher. Like, why am I going to this? And that's when I followed spirit and went and did this, I realized that for anyone listening, you do not have to have any intention of teaching yoga to go to this life-changing experience. Like that's what it was it's really just an education to make you a better person, to delve deeper into your personal practice with yoga. And at the end, you might know how to teach a yoga class, but that's not why I went. And I just want people to know that you don't have to go to yoga teacher training because you want to be a yoga teacher. Like you can just go to grow. So during yoga teacher training, I was introduced to Reiki. My yoga teacher was like, have you ever heard of Reiki? I'm doing a Reiki training this weekend. And I was like, no, but something again is telling me that this is what I need to go do. I'd never heard of it, didn't even know what it was. This was back in 2015. Okay. And so I did the Reiki 1 training and I fell in love. Like I was just like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that this is what I was led to. Like there's no words to describe how natural it came to me and how I just immediately felt that connection and that passion to want to share this with so many people. So I started teaching yoga classes at the college that I had gone to.
Hey, look at that.
My boyfriend went there. So while he was finishing up college, I was teaching yoga there. And that's when I started practicing Reiki, because when the students would be in Shavasana, I would go around and give them all Reiki. And yeah, eventually I was like, I had always known that I wanted to do retreats. Like that's something that since I went to yoga teacher training, I was like, now that is something that I see myself doing. Like that's amazing. That's something I want to do. And so I continued on my Reiki journey, got Reiki 2 certified, became a Reiki Master in 2017. And basically since I became, from 2017 to 2021, I was just attuning people to Reiki level 1. And then this year I decided that I had been studying Reiki long enough that I was ready to become a Reiki Master Teacher so I can teach people how to be a Reiki Master. So I got that in March and created Metamorphises, my online course.
Congrats.
Thank you. So through that course, one of my friends took it and she owns a retreat center and she had other people host retreats there, but she had yet to host one herself. And she reached out to me after she completed Metamorphosis and was like, do you want to host a retreat together? And I was like, you are speaking my language, sister. So it just worked out so perfectly. It's only a half hour from my house. So I was like, okay, it's not like I have to fly to go to this retreat. Like it's so close.
Yes.
And it just unfolded so naturally. Like we were just like, let's let go. I feel like I've talked about this so much. Like if you follow me or listen to my podcast, I've definitely talked about this. It's so important of how something is supposed to look? Like,
Yes.
how is this retreat supposed to look? And just embody how with 20 expected over 20, like 10.
Yeah.
But you know, how would it feel? Hold the container where we could come together as strangers, and we just embodied that feeling. And I think that's this so successful. We were focused on the ticket. How we just were like, it's supposed to unfold. And it was the most potent, the most magical, the most life-changing experience I ever experienced. I mean, there to describe how it feels to not only hold that space for women to come and cry and just be so authentically themselves, like with no shame, no censoring what they're saying.
The filters.
Thank you so much. Like, you changed my life. This weekend changed my life. I cried all day on Sunday. I just cried because tears of happiness, tears of this milestone that I've been working towards for 6-7 years. I mean, and it just solidified that, like, retreats and creating those containers is like really what I'm here to do, is to create those spaces for people to be held and heard and supported. And so I started out with just like a few little things, and as the time has grown, I've just let go and just kind of followed my heart and what comes through there. And it's really the letting go that's allowed for my business to expand. Like, when I was trying to force stuff, it wasn't working, which, like, no shit. But it didn't feel at the time like I was forcing it. But looking back, I'm like, oh, that was so forced. Where now I just like have let go, and whatever comes through, comes through. And that has been the most potent, the most successful offerings that I've had so far. So
the letting go part. So on your on a scale, on any type of scale, you're letting go. What are some of your processes of letting go for yourself?
So a big one for me was definitely coming to terms with the fact that you're not for everyone, and that's okay. Like, that's okay. You don't have to please everyone. You don't have to, just because walking to the beat of your own drum, even just that is going to trigger people who don't feel comfortable enough to walk to the beat of their own drum. I see it with my family a lot of the time. And so I've just learned that, like, forgive them, because, like, it's okay that they don't understand, but really just like owning who I am and unapologetically being myself has been one of the biggest things. So just coming to accept that not everyone is going to, like, I don't want to say support you, but not everyone is going to understand how you're so comfortable being yourself. But there are going to be people who are very inspired and want to follow in your footsteps, and who you making that change will inspire someone else to maybe also have the courage to really, like, embody who they are.
So what are some of your first early experiences with it? Like, has it always been something for you to be able to let go, or is it something that whenever it came about, you're like, all right, I either got to take a class, or I got to take a training, or read some books, or how did it go about for you?
For me, I want to say it was really like a big life change. I think
Mm.
that is what sparked this all. So I was supposed to, when I was in high school, I applied to 5 colleges. I wanted to be a
Mhm.
marine biologist,
Hey.
and I committed to a school in Florida. And
Uh-huh.
so in my head, after graduation, like I'm spending the summer in New Hampshire and then I'm off
Yeah.
to new school in Florida. And after graduation, I came home and my mom was like, I have some bad news. And I was like, what? And she was like, we did not get approved for the scholarship for this
Uh,
school. So you can't go. Like, it's way too expensive. I'm not going to be able to afford $45,000 a year.
mm.
And I was like, it was just like my world just like came to a halt. And I was like, what? So my family still had a lot of pressure on me to go to school. Like they were still like, you have to go to school in the fall.
Yeah.
And me being 17, I was like, okay. So I didn't apply to Plymouth State, which is where I ended up going, but a
Uh-huh.
lot of my friends were going there. So I was like, I'm just going to reach out to them. Like it's June. Yeah, we probably graduated in like May or June, but I was like, it's summer. They probably are full, but like, I'm just going to shoot my shot. Like, what's the worst that can happen? They tell me no.
Yeah.
So I called and explained what had happened, and they were like, send over your college app and your college essay. And I sent it over, and they called me back like 10 minutes later, and they were like, you're all set. Like, you can come. And
Mm.
so I was like, okay, well, I have this new adventure. And I didn't know, I wasn't going there to study marine biology. They didn't have a marine bio program. So I was like, well, off on this new adventure, no idea what it's going to hold. And going to Plymouth State, if you've ever been to Plymouth, New Hampshire, you know what I mean, any of these listeners. It's just a very magical place. Like it's a college in a mountain town, and it's just beautiful views everywhere you go. It's compared to UNH. UNH is a very preppy school. Plymouth is where like all the stoners went. Like we called it pot smoking university. Because it just was like we all wore Birkenstocks and like we're all, like we care about the earth and we don't wear high heels. But then you go to party at UNH for the weekend and like all these girls are carrying purses and wearing high heels, and you're just like, where am I?
It's another dimension.
Yeah, straight up. So really being at Plymouth is what opened me up to this new way of thinking, this new way of life, this open-mindedness. And I think really that is like what got me walking to the beat of my own drum, and where I was like, well, it was a few months later on that mushroom trip where I was like, wait, I'm not supposed to be going to school. Like, I'm supposed to go to yoga teacher training. And like, that was really, my family was so set on me going to college. That was the start of me going against the grain. And that just kind of gave me the momentum, the courage. Like, I was like, if I can tell my family that I'm not going to college and I can deal with their backlash, I can anything. That really got me started on being comfortable making my own choices that maybe upset my family but truly made me happy. So
now when doing things like that, like even for now, like it sets things up for now, like your routines, could you disclose any of your daily routines that keep you tuned in?
Yeah, of course. So as we were talking about before we started recording, staying off the phone in the morning.
It's tough.
It's super tough. Yeah,
it's tough.
But if you can do it, listeners, for even just one morning, like just try it. Just challenge yourself. Like screw it. Just give yourself a challenge and say, I'm not going to touch my phone for the first 10, 20, 30 minutes. See if there's a difference. Like see if there is see if you feel that energetic shift from those 20 minutes to when you pick up your phone and then your brain starts working a mile a minute. It's really nice to be able to, when you're sleeping, your brain is sort of resting. So when you wake up, you can utilize that rested energy But when we go on our phones, my theory is that when we're scrolling, we're seeing like hundreds of pictures per minute, and that kickstarts our brain to really go. So it's like, how long can you play with your brain being in that like sleepy, relaxed state?
Yes.
So so no phones is big. And then I either will meditate or give myself Reiki or practice yoga, or even just sitting and journaling. Another ritual I've incorporated recently is frankincense. Like, I've never been into burning resin. I've always seen it at metaphysical shops, but never really was like into it. And then at the retreat, I was gifted from one of the retreat goers. She sells frankincense resin. And so she gave me a bag of it with a roll of coals. And so I went out and bought a little cast iron pot. And that is another ritual that I've been incorporating in the morning, is just lighting the coal, placing the frankincense on it, and just sitting in the smoke and just allowing it to cleanse, just enjoying the smell, watching the smoke dance. Doesn't have to be this like big, like, you don't have to wake up and like meditate. Like, you can just take some time to yourself in the morning, and it makes a huge difference. Like, I can't explain enough how differently your response to stress will be if you just take a little time in the morning to ground, to center, say your affirmations, whatever it is. But I really think that time in the morning is super key to setting you up for a successful day, because all the same stuff is going to happen whether you practice a morning routine or not. Yes. So it's like, if you can practice a morning routine, that's going to make sure you're grounded as these things still happen throughout the day. You'll have a higher response to stress. They're not going to make you as upset as they would if you didn't take that time in the morning to really center. So I personally, those are some things that I do, but like I said, it could really be as simple as walking around and watering your houseplants and just taking a moment to check in with them. And it can be something so simple, but anything really, in my opinion, can be turned into a ritual and can cultivate and set you up for a good morning.
With your rituals, what is your process of going through the the way we were taught in school of the pass fail? Like, when did you get to the point of, okay, this is my ritual, I'm trying different things, and this is what I'm going to go with, other than okay, did it work? All right, did I sit here 5 minutes? It said 7 minutes or 10, or do I put in a quarter of a teaspoon? Like, when do you get past the what am I trying to say? Like that school way of doing things. You know, you got to check it here, check it there. You just leave it alone. Just do it for 2 weeks, and we're just going to do it. That's it.
Okay, I think I know what you're saying. So if I don't answer what you're trying to say, let me know. But
oh, don't worry. I said like 40 words. It's all right.
I guess that, well, for me, at least, every day it's different. Like, I never stick to a same routine. So I think that's one of the things, is like, I kind of threw the whole routine out because I'm just kind of going with my intuition. And you don't have to be perfect. Like, it doesn't have to be every day. Like, some days I wake up and go on my phone. I was just saying that this morning. I woke up and went on my phone. Don't have judgment on yourself, because you're doing it for yourself. So like, it's okay. Everything is happening for a reason. It's all perfect. So just wake up and do what feels good for you. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be the same thing every day. You don't have to say, oh, I have to sit and meditate for 5 minutes. Like, if you only want to sit there and meditate for 2 minutes, and after 2 minutes you're like, yeah, I'm good, just say, yeah, I'm good. Or if you want to challenge yourself, be like, no, I'm going to sit here and finish this. But there's really no right or wrong, especially because there's thousands of rituals, thousands of cultures, billions of people, and everyone's going to do things differently. So yeah, there's really no right or wrong. Like, there's no schedule, there's no routine. Like, you can wake up at a different time every day, and your routine can look different every day. But I think it's really just about showing up, like just making that one commitment to at least show up for yourself. I think as long as you're showing up, that's good. But yeah, there's no right or wrong or pass or fail. Like, just as long as it feels good for you, then that's really all that matters, in my opinion. Especially with yoga. Like, I went to yoga teacher training, so we were taught all the poses and sequences and how to make the poses flow together. But when I get on my mat, like, I'm just doing what feels good, you know? Like, I'm not, okay, downward dog, now three-legged dog, now step my foot forward. Like, no, I'm just dancing, doing stretches that aren't even yoga poses. Like, I'm just listening to my body and moving it in a way that feels really good for me. So that's another thing I invite listeners to do is, if yoga is intimidating, even just getting on your mat and sitting in a way that feels really good on your back or whatever, like, that's still yoga. That is 110% still yoga. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Nice. So you get into the teaching space. What are some of the things that you had to recognize about yourself moving from a space of learning to now I'm the one, well, not you're the one giving the information. I mean, you are, but you're still being used for the information as well. But knowing that people are now coming to your space for the healing that you were doing, that you were getting as well. What are some of those things that you recognized about yourself that you're like, oh, okay, this is something that I need to be doing, or I need to be prepared for the next time around?
Well, for me, even just preparing the Reiki course when I was getting it ready before I had ever launched it, one of the biggest things for me that I knew going into it, just from like being a student, I'm like, okay, now that I'm shifting into being a teacher, what would I want from my teacher? And one of the biggest things for me was like, the reason why I waited so many years to start teaching Reiki is because I wanted to have a really deep understanding of how to use Reiki every day in so many different ways. Like, and I knew that when I was taught Reiki, it was a weekend course. Like, you just went for 5 hours Saturday and 5 hours Sunday, and you were off. And I was like, that's not enough. Like, I've had to do so much self-studying personally to understand all that I know about Reiki now. And so I was like, I don't want my students to leave this course and feel like they still have all these questions, all these unanswered things. So my biggest thing was I wanted to make sure that I was fully prepared, fully understood, and that my course was going to be as detailed as possible. So I did it as a 21-day self-study, but there are students who were in round 1 who are like still working through it. You can take it as slow or as fast as you want. That's the beauty of it being self-paced. But yeah, I think one of the biggest things was like, how can I make this so I can feel like, from a student's point of view, I'm going to get everything I need, versus feeling like I'm leaving not confident in giving Reiki. Like, that's another thing, is I really want people, when they're done this course, to be confident. Like, yes, I know what I'm doing. I can go give Reiki to other people. Where sometimes I feel like when you just have a weekend thing, you just go off and you're like, can I really go like do this? And yeah, you can. But yeah, I guess those were like the biggest things, is I just really wanted to have a deep understanding, and also just commit myself to not only being there for them while they're taking the course, but even after. Because when you study Usui Reiki, there's a lineage, and I think that that is so sacred, and I honor that so much. And when I pass the torch to these other people, like, I want them to know a year down the road, 6 years down the road, if you have a question, if you have a breakthrough, if you have anything that comes up, like, you can always come back to me as your Reiki master. So yeah, I guess those were like the biggest things. I just wanted that sense of support, no questions after they left, and just like full confidence. So those were the things that I tried to embody going forward. And then as each round goes, I have a questionnaire at the end so people can give feedback, and I just will take that into consideration and adjust as needed. So
Oof, that's awesome. Being able to hold that space, going from that transition. Well, I will say also this. Who are some people that you've met along the way that have taken you into different avenues of learning, of new ways of training, or maybe opening up your mind to something that you did not think was something that you would incorporate?
So I would say one person who has made a very big impact on my Reiki practice and showing me that, yes, there is Usui Reiki, but like, you can kind of go beyond that and use, like, Usui is kind of taught very rigidly. Like, there's I don't want to say rules, but like, there's a structure. And when I studied under this teacher, we honored and respected the Usui lineage, and then we went even further into how can we use Reiki in different ways that aren't just so rigid. And her name is Capucine. That is how you can find her on social media, Capucine on YouTube. And she is out of France. And yeah, she just, she offered a Reiki course that I took back in March of this year. And she is someone that just like really opened my mind to other dimensions and working. Like, she really solidified that if whatever you intend, like, energy flows where it's intended to go. Like, so as long as you state, I'm calling in the dragons to work with this session, the dragons are probably going to come in because that's your intention. But I didn't realize it was that simple. So like, for her to take this course under her, it just opened up a lot of doorways for me to be able to like call in different energies, or it just gave me a lot more ideas for when I'm working with someone. I can say, I intend for this energy to do X, Y, and Z, and trust that that's what it's doing because that's what I'm telling it to do. So that was something pretty cool that I learned from her. And then I would just say I'm so grateful for everyone that I've met on Twitter. Like, I am astounded by the community on Twitter. Like,
it has changed.
It's so different from Instagram, in my opinion. Like, I post stuff on Instagram, and I don't know if people are just mindlessly on Instagram, and so they're just so programmed to be scrolling and tapping through stories.
Scrolling and tapping.
And so it's like, you post a poll on there, or you post like a question and no one wants to answer it on Instagram, but you post it on Twitter, and like, everyone is there to like support you, answer it, join in the conversation. It's just such a different vibe. I love it. So Eyes, Conrad, Monique, Nicole, Cara, so many more, Mars, and just like, I am so grateful. Like, you have all inspired me in different ways to just really come back to love, like especially Eyes with like the whole love and fear, like stop giving into fear and come back to love. Like, that was huge for me. That was when he was talking about that stuff in December and January, that shifted a lot in my life. Like I
Mm-hmm.
left the conspiracy community. I stopped spending hours a day researching conspiracies. Like I reclaimed my inner power because of this. So like, thank you, Twitter.
It's in the checking the phone. Like literally that right there, the conspiracy life is, it goes into the checking of the phone, because it's what are your intentions when you actually go to the phone? What are your intentions when you actually go and scroll? Like you say, first thing in the morning, if you're checking your phone, why? It's not that you are, it's why. You could be checking the weather, but are you checking the weather because you're trying to see if it's going to be a bad day today? Are you checking to see, because that conspiracy stuff, it's a continuous rabbit hole where there's always a boogeyman behind the boogeyman. So once you start down that path, next thing you know, every time you go to the store, there's a boogeyman behind the boogeyman. There's something wrong with your car. There's something wrong with the traffic light. There's something wrong with the light. There's something wrong at the store. There's something wrong here. That person looked at me. They're probably thinking that I'm this. Or I feel like that's what that conspiracy stuff did for me. Now, of course, now I did good researching. Like I'm still good at researching. Like I can take that research and put it towards me, which is awesome. But I also know you start to pick apart things really easily. You can pick apart something so quickly. So like you say, looking in the phone at 7 in the morning, next thing you know, you're picking apart things at 8 o'clock and you didn't even realize it. You didn't want to do it. But you saw that post and now you're thinking about that post.
Exactly. Yeah. And so what I've kind of learned from that is I almost am starting to wonder if like conspiracies are another agenda. Like I'm just like, is this another agenda for people to waste their time and waste their power? Because like you are giving, if you aren't going into it with the mindset, this will not emotionally affect me.
Or you're holding a space.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, you're holding a space to open someone's mind to, other than, hey, come look at this person fall, or hey, come look at this bad situation, and then we're going to talk about the bad situation, and then preview the bad situation, then talk about another bad situation. It's like, no, this conspiracy is just showing you that there's something behind something else. So you need to graduate from it and leave. Let it be. Yeah. Like you said, just let it be. Because those, like when you get into conspiracies, you see, oh, conspiracy goes, it's a lot more widespread than just government. Like it's like water. You can drink all the filtered water you want. You take a shower, right? What do you take a shower in? What are you bathing in? Those same things. There's a toilet inside of the bathroom. I mean, you can take the energy emissions off of a toilet bowl right beside of the shower. So it's all the intentions. And like you say, you can get screwed up in that, and it takes you so far from where you actually want to be.
And it makes, for me personally, it makes me act like I don't want to act like that. Like when I read conspiracies and I get triggered. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, like I read this shit and I'm like, okay, I'm triggered. And I talked about this a little bit in my first podcast episode, but when I get into conspiracies, it makes me feel like I have a point to prove. So then I gather all of these images and I feel like I have to go on Facebook and like bombard my Facebook news feed, which I'm not even on Facebook anymore, thank God, because the only thing it ever made me feel was pissed off because I'm scrolling, reading all these idiots' posts. But anyways,
I understand.
And so I don't know, it just, when I get into those rabbit holes, when I get fired up about that stuff, it's not an energy that I want to be reciprocating, but it's what I do. I feel, oh, I just learned this, I'm going to post a picture of it. But as I realized in December and January, that is just spreading that energy. Now when someone watches my story, they're going to get triggered and they're going to feel rage, and I'm just spreading rage. I don't want to say fear mongering, but like kind of fear mongering by spreading all this stuff. And whether they feel rage because they agree with it and they're pissed off that it's happening, or they feel rage because they're like, who is this crazy lady talking about this crazy stuff that's not happening? It just was not the energy I wanted to be in. And I've got to say, since I took my power back and really stopped feeding into it, reading conspiracies, life has gotten so much more magical. And I'm not ignorant to the fact that there's evil in the world. Like, yeah, there's evil in the world and it's happening. But I'm going to combat that with love. I'm not going to spread more evil and keep feeding into their agenda. Like, I'm going to just do what I can to empower people to believe in themselves and believe that they really are the creators of their reality and they can control what they are taking in and stuff. So
yes. The retreat was last month, correct?
Yes, it was the end of July.
So what is coming for the rest of this year? Got a couple months left. So what do you have in the chamber? What's something that you're looking forward to do?
That is a beautiful question. I'm really looking forward to launching or announcing. I don't want to call it I'm trying to find another word besides coaching, because I feel like the coaching community is very toxic on Instagram. It's just like a lot. For me, the coaching community seems like a ton of women robbing other women of their money. Like, I'm sorry, but that's what it is. I mean,
no, we're not taking advantage of mental awareness. We're not taking advantage of that. No.
So it's like when I see these coaches charging like thousands of dollars a month, I'm just like, my first question is, how are you claiming to be a business coach when all of the profit your clients are making off their business is going in your pocket? And the other thing is, there's not a lot of integrity in the coaching community. Like, I've done the research. I will go on these coaches' websites and I'm looking and I'm like, what business have you built to make you a business coach? Like, what business are you sitting on that's so successful that you've now decided that you can be a business coach? And I look and oftentimes it's the fact that they're a coach. Like, they've built their business off of taking money from other people. So I do want to steer away from the coaching word, although that is kind of what I'll be doing. But I am going to be stepping into, mentoring, coaching. I've been working with one client right now, just privately. And the changes that I've seen in her and in her business and everything, I'm just really excited to be able to work with people. I'm sure it'll be mostly women, but to work with people in this more intimate way, because as I continue we do Reiki, there's so much to it, but I also help her with her taxes and logging her P&L, and like registering her LLC and stuff. But my Reiki is evolving to the point where I no longer really just want to give Reiki to someone one time. Like, I really want to develop a relationship with them and track their progress. Yes. And so this mentoring has really allowed for that to happen, because I'm giving them a session once a week or every other week. And it's just been a really, really beautiful way to connect with people and work with them in a more personal way. So I don't know when I'm going to be launching it, but in the next couple of months, I'm going to be announcing that I'll be offering affordable mentoring for people who want a life coach, business coach, whatever you're looking for. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. The work that we've been doing together with my one-on-one client now has just been really potent, and I've found that I'm really passionate about it and like creating the worksheets for her to work on throughout the week and stuff. So I'm excited to open that up to the public. And other than that, I will just be running Metamorphises like every other month. And yeah.
Nice. Now, Adrianna, you have so much going on. Great things going on. So what do you do for fun? What are your things that you love to connect back to say, this is me having fun? Because you already go to the beat of your own drum. So what are those things?
Yeah. I love swimming. So we go to the river like once or twice a week. We live in Maine, so we have really clean, beautiful water that I'm so grateful for. And so like, yeah, once or twice a week, we will drive like 20 minutes away and go jump off cliffs or go on natural rock slides, and just like, my boyfriend and I call it like just inner child play, because it really seems like you're at a amusement park. Like it's like a water park, but it's by nature. And so it's really grounding and it's really beautiful and no one's ever there. So it's nice. So we like to go swimming, and I also, I like running. So I'll go on runs sometimes for fun. I know it sounds crazy. But no, I like building a sweat. Like I like detoxing that way. So sometimes I'll take my dogs for a run, or I also just love like dancing and singing, and really just being outside is like what I do for fun. I love getting outside, even if I'm just sitting on my porch in the sun. Like that is better than being inside for me. So
well, do you have any favorite songs? Like what are some songs that have stayed on your mental playlist like forever? Like those songs just aren't going away. Like no matter what the lyrics are, what they are, you're just gonna sing them or hum to them, or they just always give you that high vibration.
Okay, 3 artists come to mind. So I would say Londrell. He makes very intentional, beautiful music. Fia, which I'm surprised not a lot of people know about her, which like it was surprising. I played her at the retreat and like no one knew who she was, and I was like, oh my god, this music is so magical. So Fia, Waterfall of Wisdom is an amazing album. I would say check that out. Again, just like really mindful, intentional music. And then I would say my favorite band lately that I will never get sick of is Greta Van Fleet. Like they go hard as fuck. Like I love them. I love live music, and I just love music so much. And when I listen to them, I'm like, oh my god, did you just hear those drums? Oh my god, did you just hear the guitar? Like holy shit. They are just so talented. Each individual member of the band is so uniquely talented. The music is just like I said, I listen to them all day, every day. I will never get sick of them. I can't wait to see them live someday. But yeah, if you've never heard them, Greta Van Fleet, check them out. All of their songs are bangers. I don't even have one to recommend because they're all so good.
Nice.
So, Greta Van Fleet. But I love all music. Truly, I listen to anything really. So
yeah, nice. Well, even with the music, are you a movie watcher? Like now these days?
I still watch movies, yeah. I just even if it's like a movie, like I don't know, for example, I just watched Raya and the Last Dragon, which is a Disney movie, and like it's still Disney, but like that was a good movie. So something that I've started doing, if you listeners are kind of like, oh no, I don't watch movies anymore because it's an agenda, what I do before I watch the movie is I just state out loud like a declaration. Like I'm just like, I do not consent to mind programming from this, emotional manipulation, whatever it is that you want to state. You have the power to declare that energetic boundary. So like,
Yes.
I've just gotten in the habit of doing that before I watch TV or a movie. I'm like, oh, I do not consent to the programming. I don't consent to being emotionally manipulated. Like, I'm not gonna cry when they show me this whatever. And yeah, that's been really helpful and empowering. And I feel like I can, still like watch these things, but I still feel like I'm sort of setting that boundary so that way I'm not like triggered or whatever by them.
Intentionally making sure yourself is not triggered is something amazing. Like, just the ability to go into a situation and literally doing the thing that praying. You're literally just praying. That's all it is. Like, you're letting yourself know that this is something that I'm going to do, and I don't need to feel guilty about it. That's the one thing that I have learned. Stating your intentions takes all of that guilt trip, because the guilt trip that we have is basically for either ourselves or for other people who would never even know you were thinking that or watching that movie in the first place. Mm-hmm. So just this whole time, Adrianna, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm just gonna tell you, I could probably sit here for about 3 more hours. Literally, I could ask you question after question after question after question. I could, but as promised, it's literally 8:46 on the dot. It's literally 1 minute over, and you got some more healing to do today. You got some more healing to do.
I do. Thank you so much.
Go on and get it. Go on and get it. So, anyone out there, you can hit Adrianna up as well at divine.healing on Linktree. I'm telling you. Podcast. I even watched the ones on YouTube. Yes, I did. Mm-hmm. I watched the ones on YouTube. I watched the ones on YouTube as well. Before we get out, you have the voice, like the comforting voice. My voice loud. It got some bass to it. How do y'all do it? How are y'all able? Like, it's a calming, like, today we're going to, and because that's the stuff I listen to on my meditations. I try to listen to myself back on it. I'm just like, no, I don't have that voice, that calmness. I just want to let you know that you have it already. You've been doing it. And everyone you meet, just know that everyone you meet, everyone's life is changed just from the sight of you. And thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And have a wonderful day. And enjoy. Just enjoy.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. Your energy is so lovely. Thank you. I could talk all day too. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop this. You know what? There's really no other way to end this. I'm just going to stop the recording.